Good afternoon, everyone. On occasion of our presentation, on occasion of our presentation season, I am going to deal with my presentation, and my topic of the presentation is character study of Nick Carraway and his individual responsibilities. Here is my personal information, and those are some points which I'm going to discuss in my presentation. So, I'm going to discuss about the author F. Scott Fitzgerald, uh, and then about the novel The Great Gatsby, then the character study of Nick Carraway, then view of Frederick J. Hoffman and Robert W. Stallman about Nick Carraway. Those two are literary critics. Individual responsibility of Nick Carraway in The Great Gatsby, then similarity of Nick Carraway and Arthur Fleck Joker, then conclusion. So, first of all, I start my presentation with the introduction about the author, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald was an American novelist, essayist, and short story writer. F. Scott Fitzgerald is remembered as a golden boy of the 20s. When he was 24 years old, he wrote his first novel, which was This Side of Paradise, and it was published in 1920. Fitzgerald received critical acclaim only after his death, but now he is widely regarded as one of the greatest American writers of the 20th century. Fitzgerald was widely recognized for his novels that depicted chassis. Chassis is a term that he recreated and popularized in his short story collection, which is Tales of the Chassis. Then, about the novel The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is novel which continues to be F. Scott Fitzgerald's most widely read work. The continuing popularity of Gatsby, even its high reputation among academic literary critics, is no certain measure of its greatness. This novel was published in 1925 and considered the best novel by others. The novels which came out that year was Manhattan Transfer, An American Tragedy, Barren Ground, The Professor's House, Aerosmith. Those all may reasonably conclude that none has held up as well. Then the character study of Nick Carraway. Nick Carraway is the narrator in The Great Gatsby, and he is an important one that is well recognized. His family have been prominent, well-to-do people in the same Midwestern city for 3 generations. He graduated from Yale as his father before him. Here are 4 examples of critics. Frederick J. Hoffman, who is literary critic, sees Nick in a double aspects. First, he is the leader who, through his experience in the possession of a new and fully revitalized moral knowledge. Then second thing is concerning the reliability of Nick's moral judgments. Hoffman further states that if we cannot accept Carraway, the novel is chaos. That is, the chaos of Gatsby's world requires some kind of judgment from a set of standards we can accept, or the novel is meaningless. And then Frohock and Hoffman, they concerning the value of Nick as the moral center of the novel are in essential agreement about Nick's role in the design of The Great Gatsby. In opposition to this statesman, Robert W. Stallman states that and share his view that he believes that the moral rectitude of Nick is but the mask of hypocrisy. And he further states that only the dubbed reader sees Nick as the moral center of the novel. Although he said that Nick is careless, irresponsible, a bad moral risk, and he was suffering from spiritual bankruptcy. Individual responsibility of Nick Carraway in The Great Gatsby. Nick Carraway, who is narrator of The Great Gatsby, recognized that his woman friend, who is Jordan Baker, was incurably dishonest, and when Jordan lying to him, he immediately and easily dismissed the issue by explaining that it made no difference to me, and dishonestly in a woman is a thing you never blame deeply. I was cautiously sorry, then I forget. So this Jordan's dishonesty foreshadows his later acceptance of his cousin, who is Daisy, that he knows that she is the Daisy who killed Martel Wilson. And although Nick knows that it was Daisy and not Gatsby who had been driving that car, but he neither confronts Daisy with his knowledge, nor does he consider reporting her to the police. He also rejects telling Daisy's husband the truth. Instead, Nick judges the truth here as an unutterable fact. Here, I try to connect Nick Carraway with Arthur Fleck. Nick Carraway and Arthur Fleck are quite different characters from each other. They are different from time period and also different from literary genres. Nick Carraway is the narrator in The Great Gatsby, and Arthur Fleck is character of Joker movie, and he is socially inept party clown. Nick Carraway was poor and his life is ordinary, and he is quite sane. Then on other side, Arthur Fleck is also poor protagonist, and he was a failed comedian and party clown. Nick has a disease, morbidly alcoholic. He was suffering from insomnia, fits of anger, and also he was stressed. And in similar way, Arthur Fleck was suffering from a medical disorder that causes him to laugh uncontrollably in inappropriate times. He also suffers from emotional incontinence. They both character are unreliable narrator. In The Great Gatsby, Nick Carraway's narrator is quite doubtful, because he is many times criticized as been unreliable narrator. On other side, Arthur Fleck's view of reality is quite doubtful, because he is suffering from mentally illness, and the audience quite not sure about the reality and about imagination in this movie. They both characters are affected by the action of others. In The Great Gatsby, Nick Carraway was affected by the drama of Jay Gatsby's life, and he was drawn on Jay Gatsby's affairs and all that kind of situation. And on other side, Arthur Fleck was affected by those people who around him and who affected him a lot, because at the end of the movie, Arthur Fleck become a cruel and violent person. conclusion. In the conclusion, I put two quotes about two quotes from critics. First, Claire Stokes states for Nick Carraway that Nick wants to portray Gatsby as great and to ignore or edit anything that might undermine that image. And Stallman is equally extreme in his view of Gatsby, whom Nick sees as a myth of hero, a sun god, and one who is a life-giving force. This is my work cited. Thank you. Now I am open for questions.
Hina, my question is that why we cannot trust on narrative style of Nick Carraway and Arthur Fleck?
As I mentioned in my presentation, Nick Carraway and Arthur Fleck are quite different characters from their literary genres and time period. Nick Carraway is criticized for being unreliable narrator in the novel The Great Gatsby, and Arthur Fleck is Arthur Fleck has a different view from his reality, and he was suffering from mental illness. That's why we can the audience didn't rely on his imagination and or his reality.
Hina, my question is: in what ways Nick Carraway's mental illness shows any rising action in the novel?
Um, I couldn't understand this question. I will answer this question in comment box on YouTube. Thank you.